I mean, do you believe that the uncertainty is going to continue for up to 2 years? That's what one analyst has suggested, and even the finance minister in the UK, George Osborne, has indicated that he believes that there's going to be a lot of volatility, because obviously if there's going to be a lot of volatility, this is going to inform people like yourselves as to how you're going to be investing in the marketplace.
Oh, that's very interesting. It's a very interesting observation from those analysts. But I mean, you know, like what we believe at Vestact is that volatility brings upon a lot of opportunities. But 2 years is a bit too long for volatility and uncertainty. So I'm not quite sure on how come they came with that horizon specifically. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk about the safe haven assets.
Yes,
gold,
yes.
Your U.S. Treasuries, the Japanese yen. Investors crowding into those kind of assets. If you're an investor here in South Africa and you're looking at the prospect of gold, would you invest in that with the hope that there'll be more upside?
For me, it's a big no. I like hard assets such as companies, obviously, that are listed on the JSE. Main reason why I wouldn't be investing in gold is because gold year to date is up 121%, believe it or not. So if you're trying to buy gold now, you're a bit late actually in the party. You're not going to make much there. So if you didn't buy gold in December, you're a bit too late currently. Yeah, so I wouldn't be going there.
Now, we see that the financial sector has been hit quite hard by this, and it seems as though the European Union banking regulator, which currently is residing in London, has decided that they're going to move to either Frankfurt or Paris. Is this a prelude for banks in general to move to mainland Europe and away from London?
Maybe. I mean, I don't see why they shouldn't move from the UK if they're not comfortable staying there any longer, and there's, like this Brexit thing happening, and come to think of it, Frankfurt and like the likes of Dublin actually are very friendly when it comes to in terms of their corporate taxes. That's why the likes of Google's and all these big tech firms are actually in Dublin, because it's very friendly for their businesses to be there. So I don't see why banks can't do the same. You know what I mean?
I think the rationale is that many of their customers in London are based in the European Union, and even when it comes to trade treaties, when they have to renegotiate, there may be rules in place that suggest that European banks can only serve European customers type thing.
Yeah, maybe there will be quite a lot of restrictions in terms of trade, but it doesn't mean like that will stop companies from actually operating in the UK. It just means more regulations for them, but I don't think in the future that's going to be a factor, because like the likes of Steinhoff and Mediclinic and all those companies were able to get into other places in other countries where they can operate. I don't see it as much of a big problem.
All right,
just
Bright.
maybe more cost for those companies to incur.
Understood. Now, the Rand is always sensitive to international events. So given the uncertainty, do you expect more Rand volatility? And does it really matter these days whether or not the US Fed is raising rates or not, given all this other noise that's going on?
So I was going to say, actually, the Rand, I think it reacts more to the US dollar. So as we have seen, we've been having a lot of strength in the US dollar and weakness in the Rand as a result. So bringing in another volatility in a different currency, which is now the pound, is pretty interesting in terms of the currencies. But I can't really call the Rand or say where it's going to go or what's going to happen there. It's a tough one to call.
Yeah, if you could, you'd be a very rich man. Now, the British pound remains under pressure, as you just alluded, and its devaluation has got tongues wagging that the AB InBev offer of £44 a share for the SABMiller company won't go down so well with shareholders, because obviously because the pound has devalued somewhat, that £44 is not worth what it was in November when that offer was made. Do you think that there's going to be a rejigging of that particular deal?
I'm not sure about the rejigging of the deal itself from £44, but what I am sure of is that as the pound gets weaker, you've seen the price of SAB is also moving as the pound moves. So whatever the pound does, you'll see the price of SABMiller here in South Africa will, sort of like mimic the change in the pound. Yeah.
More broadly now, you did mention, some what we call Rand hedges, companies that are based in the UK but have a lot of South African exposure, your Mediclinics and so on.
Yes.
What do you think this means for companies like Old Mutual, Anglo American, this whole pound depreciation?
We've seen the financial stocks were the ones that were hit the most. So the likes of Vestact and Old Mutual, obviously they're taking a bigger hit because they report their earnings in pounds, and obviously the pound is taking a hit. With regards to the likes of Mediclinic, which is quite a unique situation where most of their money they make, more than 50% of actually their revenue and profits comes from the business in Switzerland. So you've seen today Mediclinic is like up close to 2% because the weakening pound is actually good for them. Because it means that the other hand of that transaction, which is the Swiss franc, is getting stronger, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, with all the noise and all the uncertainty, which, like you say, we can't time, what is it that your particular investment house is doing to ensure that your clients don't lose money because the markets are in sell-off mode at the moment?
Of course, you know, a loss is not a loss until you actually crystallize the loss by actually selling the shares. So it's hard to say what's going to happen going into the future, but as we hold the likes of Steinhoff, Mediclinic and Braid for our clients, we're encouraging clients to actually buy those if they have any money to use. For clients that are actually fully invested, we're just holding the line there and doing nothing at all.
Okay, so stay invested, that's your advice?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we are long-term investors at the end of the day.
Okay, Bright, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. That was Bright Khumalo. He's from Vestact. More business news for you after.